Hi guys, good morning and welcome to Power Breakfast. I'm Pavitra Parekh. Those are the top headlines that we're looking at as we get into a brand new trading week. There's clearly lots for us to track this week in terms of cues, lots that has happened overnight as well. But first, let me take you through all of the global market action. We did see a bit of a lower close on Friday on Wall Street, and on the back of that, you have a lot of the Asian markets which are trading with cuts. Actually, all of the Asian markets are seeing some cuts right now. What's doing the worst this morning is the Korean market. So Kospi is down around 0.8%. I mean, it's had a stellar rally this year, so it's nothing major, just some profit taking coming through there. You have Straits, which is down around 0.6%. Shanghai down around 0.5%. Nikkei trading with some cuts. So there are some cuts across the Asian markets, but nothing too major right now. The SGX Nifty will come up for you, and it is indicating a flat start for the Indian market. Absolutely flat over there, just around 5 points lower is where we're at on the SGX Nifty. But with that, let's also move on and talk about the US markets now, because like I was telling you, the S&P 500 saw a little bit of a downtick, around 0.4% in the red on Friday. The Dow was down around 108 points, or around 0.3%, pretty similar levels there, and the Nasdaq lost around 0.7%. So that's how the action really shaped up on Friday. But if you look at it for the week, it was still quite all right, and for the week we're still seeing some gains for the US markets. But let's get in Kate Rogers now to tell us how the action really looked like on Friday and everything we should track. Kate.
Markets ending lower as Wall Street closes out a winning week. The Dow shedding around 109 points, the S&P also in the red, and the Nasdaq dropping about 0.7%. Virgin Galactic shares soaring double digits after the space company said it aims to launch its first commercial space tourism flight later this month. The announcement comes after Virgin Galactic completed its final test space flight in May. The company said it's planning a second commercial flight in early August, with monthly flights expected to follow after. Shares of robotic vacuum maker iRobot surging after Britain's competition watchdog approved Amazon's $1.7 billion acquisition of the company. The Competition and Markets Authority said the deal would not cause a, quote, substantial lessening of competition. Amazon stock was slightly lower following the news. That's what's happening here in the U.S. Back to you in Mumbai.
All right, Kate, thanks a lot for getting us all of that action from Wall Street. But let's also bring you some important opinion on the U.S. market. This comes in from Ed Yardeni of Yardeni Research. Listen in.
It's still a baby bull market. It just really got started on October 12th of last year. And at first it was very broad-based. Then we had the banking crisis, and it narrowed as the financials got whacked and everybody ran into the mega cap 8. And then the bears said, well, it's too narrow a market and it's going to take a dive. And instead, what happened is the market's starting to broaden out. I think the fact that it's broadening out is proof positive that we're actually in a bull market and people are getting more optimistic about the future. I mean, the future looks pretty good to me.
All right, that is the outlook on the U.S. market. But with that, let's also bring you the final update on our global market wrap this morning. European markets ended Friday's trading session higher. It was actually positive across the board. So we closed at a 3-month high. The French CAC index surged over 1.5%. So very good showing there. The German DAX was up around 67 points. It also ended at a fresh all-time high. And the FTSE saw a close of around 14 points higher. The pan-European index stock 600, which also saw quite a good move. So it was up around 0.5%. This is for Friday, while it closed for the week, it was 1.5% higher. So like I said, good performance across the board. For the stocks 600, it's actually been the best performance that we've seen in 2 months. The 2-year UK gilt also hit a 15-year high, while the sterling hit a 14-month high against the US dollar, following better than expected economic data. And now investors will track the Bank of England's decision, which is this week. That is the key cue that we're looking at from the European markets. And the BOE is widely expected to raise interest rates by a quarter of a point to around a 15-year high, which will be of 4.75%. So this decision is expected on Thursday. We'll, of course, keep filling you in on what comes through from the global markets. But for now, let's talk about all of the cues that we should track in terms of our own market and the setup as we get into this trading week. We have our research team here for exactly that. Sonal, Mangalam and Surbhi are all now to prep us up, for this trading session. Guys, a very good morning to all of you. Sonal, let me come to you first. We were just going through the global setup, but take us through everything we should track. for our own markets today?
Good morning, Pavitra. Well, last week was very strong for our own markets. In fact, Nifty closed higher for the fourth consecutive week. And we did see gains in financials and FMCG leading the markets higher in trade last week as well. And Sensex, Nifty and Midcap ended close to their record highs as well. So it is important trading session today. We'll be watching out for the next levels on the Nifty as well. Nifty closed just 61 points away from its all-time high of 18,887.6. So that is the next level we are watching out for. Midcap index was also up 3% for the week. It hit a record high for 4 out of the 5 trading sessions. Similar was the story for the FMCG index as well. Hit a record high out of 3 out of the 5 sessions that we traded last week. So looking good as far as the overall texture of the market is concerned. In June so far, FIIs have bought around 6,887 crore rupees in cash and DIIs have bought 4,330 crore rupees in cash. So it's a net buy figure so far. But now from here, we'll be watching for the next levels. The support is coming in at 18,650 to 18,700 and the resistance on the upside is at 18,950 to 19,000. Will Nifty scale that record high level yet again today is something that we'll be watching out for in our own markets. As far as the global markets are concerned, US markets did see some profit taking in Friday's trading session. They are shut for a holiday today. So it was down anywhere between 0.3% to 0.7% in the US markets. If we talk about the Asian markets, largely mixed, but we do have some positive cues and impact of macros also coming in on Asian markets. The Taiwanese index and Hang Seng, both of them are lower, but Japanese markets are hovering near 33-year highs and yen has come in at a 15-year low versus the euro after the Bank of Japan decision. SGX Nifty is indicating that the start for our own markets, well, that is something that we'll be tracking because record high is the next level that we are watching out for on the Nifty, absolutely flat on SGX right now.
All right, Sonal, thanks a lot for that. All eyes on that record high level and, whether we can make it to that or not. But thanks a lot for getting us all of those cues. Let me also bring Surbhi in now, who's looking at all of the stocks that we should track. Surbhi, take us through all of the weekend action.
Good morning, Pavitra. The first one on my list is Hindustan Aeronautics. In its deal with General Electric, it will entail an 80% transfer of jet engine technology by value. Next is ABB India. The Kanpur Metro deploys the company's electrification solutions. Dr. Reddy's, it clears 2 US FDA inspections, one in its API facility and the second one in the company's formulations facility. Next is Gufic Bio. The company received an approval from National Medical Products Admin China for its API. And lastly, Axis Tech, the company is going to acquire 100% stake in Ad Solutions, a German company, for 5.5 million euros.
All right, Surbhi, thanks a lot for taking us through all of that stock-specific action. Finally, Mangalam is also here to fill us in with all of the cues from the futures and options space. Mangalam, just around 60 points away from that all-time high, but take us through everything we should watch.
Just around 60 points. In fact, on Friday, we were as close as about 23, 25 points on the record high for the Nifty itself. It was the Nifty Bank that led the chart. So this week itself, when we hit a record high, and the question is not if, the question is what happens thereafter. That's something that we'll have to find an answer to. The SGX Nifty is indicating a flat start, but these days the dips have been bought in our index, so let's see whether that sustains or not. The FIIs and the DIIs, both of them were buyers in the cash market. We saw 1,200 crore worth purchase in index futures by the FIIs as well, where they added about 8,300 long contracts and covered 4,200 short contracts as well. As a result of which, the FII long exposure has inched slightly higher to 55% as against short exposure of 45%. What was perplexing, however, was that, after a big rally in the Nifty Bank on Friday, there was only 90 crore worth purchased by FIIs. So does that mean the FIIs may continue to buy a little more on the Nifty Bank if it outperforms today or not? Will that provide additional cushion or not is something that we'll have to watch out for. Again, in index options, 2 weeks ahead of the June series expiry, we're seeing FIIs write more puts. So 3 lakh puts added for about 2 lakh calls which were added. And that's telling you there is strong support at lower levels and dips are likely to be bought. 18,800 put, 18,750 put and 18,700 put. Together, between these 3 contracts, we saw almost 1.5 crore shares being written on the short side, telling you strong support between 18,700 to 18,800 for our market itself. Call writers extremely active at 19,000 and 18,900, hoping for some profit booking after the Nifty hits a record high. Just keep an eye out on the put-call ratio, extremely overbought at 1.29, so that's something we'll have to watch out for. The Nifty Bank, 44,000 is a bit of a fulcrum, 44,200 should be some resistance, and just watch out for BHEL, it's out of F&O band.
All right, Mangalam, thanks a lot for taking us through all of those cues that you're looking at from the futures and options space. But with that, some important data that has also come through. This is from the Finance Ministry, and the direct tax mop-up for FY24 has risen by 11.18%. This is versus FY23 at 3.8 lakh crores versus 3.42 lakh crores that we saw in the last financial year. The advanced tax mop-up is also higher, so that is at 13.7% higher at 1.16 lakh crores versus 1.03 lakh crores, which we saw in FY23, while tax refunds have moved up by 30%, so that's come in at around 40,000 crore rupees versus the 30,000 crore rupees that we saw in FY23. Meanwhile, if you look at the advanced tax mop-up for FY24, that has gone up around 13% at 1.16 lakh crore rupees versus last year refunds of June 17th, which are up 30% at 39,578 crores. So these are some important, numbers that we're looking at from the Finance Ministry. But with that, we are going to get into a short break now. When we return, we're going to bring you excerpts from our exclusive conversation with Titan Tanera CEO Ambuj Narayan. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back. You're still tuned into Power Breakfast here on CNBC TV18, and let's now bring you an exclusive conversation. Shilpa caught up with Ambuj Narayan, who's Chief Executive Officer of Tanera, which is Titan's Indian wear business and its youngest business division actually, and started by asking off about the brand's growth so far, and listen in to what he had to tell us.
So last year we grew our top line by 3x, and we doubled our store count. This year again we are looking at doubling our store count again. So we're trying to look at if we can open more than 80 stores. We can be more than 80 stores by end of this fiscal. And in terms of top line, we have a target of achieving being a 1,000 crore brand by FY27. Okay. So that's the plan, and by FY27 we intend to have about more than 200 stores.
Right. So about 1,000 crore by FY27. Can you give me a rough indication where we're at currently, so we sort of understand what the growth trajectory is going to be like?
Well, we're not sharing that number right now. As I can tell you that we grew to 3x last year, and this year again we're looking at a 2.5x. But we will get there. So we are on course to getting to 1,000 crore by FY27.
Right, fair enough. And I wanted to understand with respect to the product portfolio also here. You started off with just saris, and now the competition in this segment, or in the Indian ethnic wear segment, is rapidly growing in India. A lot of large players also. So I just wanted to understand, what are your plans with respect to expanding the product portfolio going forward? What more can we see?
So saris will obviously remain the mainstay of our portfolio, and it contributes to almost 90% of our turnover. The other categories we're already present right now is in blouses and kurtas.
And just before we wrap up, if you just quickly give me 2-3 numbers in terms of, I know you've said it already, but just as a summary, total number of stores that you're looking at by the end of this fiscal, and total number of cities also that you would probably be present in by the end of this fiscal.
So right now we are present in 45. We have 45 stores present in 23 cities, and by end of this financial year, we aim to have 80 plus stores and spread across 40 cities.
Right.
In the country.
Are you profitable right now? What is the path to profitability looking like?
Well, certainly we are not looking at profitability at the moment. This is our expansion and growth phase. But at store level, we are largely there. And we are investing in the brand right now. So building a lot of brand awareness, and also because we are investing in opening stores. So we are not looking at profitability at the moment. But we do have a line of sight for profitability in the coming years.
All right, that is Titan Tanera telling us that they've grown 3x in the past year. So growth is looking extremely solid, and also laying out some very ambitious targets for the years to come. But with that, let's also move on and talk about that highly anticipated visit of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He is visiting the US, and this will start on Tuesday. So all eyes are on that, and we are expecting some big deals. In fact, sources tell us that the General Electric HAL fighter jet engine deal will include a transfer of technology worth 80% by value. The government is also likely to approve chipmaker Micron's $1 billion investment into India, with the investment possibly rising to $2 billion. On this same meeting as well, we're expecting high-level meetings that are also likely for closer linking of supply chains on traditional industries and new critical and emerging technologies as well. Another matter that could be discussed is that the Ukraine and Russia war and that the impact that it could have on developing countries. So all of this is really likely to be on the agenda. The meeting starts on Tuesday, and we're going to keep bringing you through everything that we do get from there. But with that, we are going to get into a short break. When we come back, we're going to shift focus and talk about the commodities market. Manisha will join us to fill us in with all of the action. Welcome back. You're still watching Power Breakfast, and let's talk about the commodities space now as promised. Manisha is joining us to fill us in with the action. Manisha, take us through what really went down over the weekend.
Hi, Pavitra. Morning. Thank you. Well, we have seen crude oil prices start the new week with nearly a percentage point of decline. Last week, the crude prices gained up by 2.5% because the dollar was trading on the weaker side, and China also helped because they did cut lending rates, and the markets also are looking at Russian energy minister's statement, which said that they are realistic that the oil prices could hit $80 a barrel. But the decline on the beginning of the week comes in as major banks have downgraded China's GDP forecast. The Iran crude exports also have hit a new high in 2023, and then you have the money managers also cutting net long positions by nearly 13,000 contracts in the previous week, all of that weighing on the crude oil prices. But in the meanwhile, you have the gold prices trading above $1,950 per ounce. There is an expectation that the Bank of England monetary policy meeting in this week could see interest rate hikes, and that is what is keeping the prices in check.
All right, Manisha, thanks a lot for getting us all of that action from the commodity space. But with that, also let me bring you the latest on the weather situation. The IMD has now said that the monsoon advancement has been stalled in Maharashtra, and this is owing largely to weak westerly and southwesterly winds. In fact, IMD sources have told CNBC TV18 that the monsoon had reached close to the Ratnagiri region. However, the winds are not really strong enough to pull the monsoon towards the North Konkan and Mumbai region as of now. So the current spells of rain that we've all been witnessing are really due to Cyclone Biparjoy and not the monsoon setting in. And sources tell us that based on the current weather situation, chances of the monsoon setting in Maharashtra's North Konkan and Mumbai region would be in the end of June or perhaps the first week of July. So that is the prediction so far as the monsoon advancement goes. This is important to track because it has been delayed significantly. So we will talk more about the impact later during the day as well. But in fact, to get all of the updates, we will also be having R.K. Janamani, who is a senior scientist at IMD, joining us today at 8:35 a.m. So stay tuned for that very important chat. Okay, with that, let me also bring you another important story that we're looking at. Floods in Assam worsened as incessant rains inundated more areas, affecting residents and forcing evacuations. This is according to the Assam State Disaster Management Authority. We've had 33,400 people which have been affected by the floods so far in and around 12 districts. Lakhimpur is the worst hit district, with over 25,000 people fleeing the affected region of the flood. 13 relief camps have also been set up in the district so far, and flood water has also destroyed many hectares of crop area. To make matters even worse, several incidents of landslides have also been reported due to the flood, and rivers like Brahmaputra are flowing above danger levels as well. The situation remains quite grim in Assam, and this is an important story that we're looking at. We're going to keep bringing you all of the updates on this through the day as well. Some more news that we're looking at this morning. 98 people have also been killed and 400 admitted to hospitals in Uttar Pradesh's Balia district within the past 3 days itself, with doctors pointing out that soaring temperatures and a very severe heat wave could be the cause of death. So extremely unfortunate news coming out of that region as well, and we will keep tracking this and bringing you all of the stories. But with that, we are going to wind down on this edition of Power Breakfast with the news that all of the Asian markets, like I was telling you, are in the red. The Hang Seng down 0.8%, Kospi down 0.8%. The SGX Nifty is indicating just a flat start for our own market. So let's see how it moves from there. 61 points away from all-time high levels. Thank you for tuning into Power Breakfast. Bazaar Morning Call is up into.